Good morning, dear student. I am Vikram Singh, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce from Mewar University. Today, in this class, we understand receivable management. These are the content for regarding this lecture. Concept of receivable management, cost of maintaining receivable, benefits of maintaining receivable, optimum size of receivable, then factor affecting the size of receivable, optimum credit policy, credit evaluation of customer. Now let's we understand one by one concept of receivable management. Listen carefully. Receivable means book debt or maybe sundry debtors, and these arise if the goods are sold on credit basis. The data from about 30% of current assets in India. No, debtors from about nearby 30% of current assets in India. Debt involve an elements of risk and bad debts also. This is a very important part. If we uh, if we sell the product on credit basis, then we have risk, and we have also risk regarding bad debts. So it calls for careful analysis and proper management. It is required. The goal of receivable management is to maximize the value of firm by achieving a trade-off between risk and profitability. Here we analyze the trade-off between risk and profitability. For this purpose, a finance manager has to obtain optimum value of sale. To control for this cost of receivable, cost of collection, administrative expenses, bad debts, and also opportunity cost of fund block in the receivable. To maintain the debtors at minimum according to the credit policy offered to the customer. To offer cash discount suitably dependent on the cost of receivable, bank rate of interest, opportunity cost of fund block in the receivable, etc. This is about cash concept of receivable management. Now after that, cost of maintaining receivable. Here we have different type of cost for maintaining receivable, like capital cost, administrative cost, collection cost, defaulting cost, etc. Let's we start one by one. Maintenance of account receivable results in blocking of firm financial resources in this receivable. So this is because there is a time lag between the sale of goods to customer and the payment received from customer, etc. The firm has therefore to arrange for additional fund to meet its own obligation. Here we require additional fund if we sell product on credit basis for the purpose of payment to employee as a salary, payment to supplier of raw material, etc. while awaiting for payment from its customer. So additional fund may either be raised from outside or out of profit retained in the business. In first case, the firm has to pay interest to the outsider, while in the latter case, there is an opportunity cost to the firm, that is the money which the firm could have earned otherwise by investing for the fund elsewhere. This is all about capital cost. The second one is administrative cost. The firm has to incur additional administrative cost for maintaining account receivable in the form of salary to the staff kept for maintaining account record relating to customer, cost of conducting investigation regarding potential credit customer to determine their credit worthwhile. The next one is collection cost. The firm has to incur cost for collection the payment from its credit customer. Sometimes additional step have to be taken to recover money from defaulting customer. The next one is defaulting cost. Sometimes after making all the serious efforts to collect money from defaulting customer, the firm may not be able to recover the overdue because of inability of the customer. Such debts are treated as a bad debts. So have to return off these since they cannot be realized. That is defaulting cost. This is all about cost of maintainable receivable. Now the benefits of maintaining receivable. Through this receivable management, we can increase our cost. We also increase our profit through selling the product on credit basis. We can also get extra profit on credit sales, etc. Now, after that, optimum size of receivable. What is the optimum size? The optimum investment in receivable will be at a level where there is a trade-off between cost and profitability. Listen carefully. The optimum level where there is a trade-off between cost and profitability. When the firm resorts to a liberal credit policy, the profitability of the firm increase on account of higher sale. However, such policy result in increased investment in receivable and also increased chances of bad debts and more collection cost. So the total investment in receivable increase, thus the problem of liquidity is created. On the other hand, a standard credit policy reduces the profitability but increase the liquidity of the firm. But in this situation, the optimum credit policy occurs at a point where there is trade-off between liquidity and profitability. The main theme is optimization of receivable means trade-off between liquidity and profitability. Here we maintain balance between receivable, credit sales and profitability. This is all about optimization size of receivable. Now the factor affecting the size of receivable. If we arrange the optimum size of receivable, then we have to keep in your mind these are the factors, levels of sales. What is our level of sale? Credit policies. The level of sales, this is the most important factor in determining the size of account receivable. Generally, in the same industry, a firm having a large volume of sale will be having a large level of receivable as compared to a firm with a small volume of sales. Sales level can also be used for forecasting change in account receivable. For example, if a firm predicts that there will be an increase of 20% in its credit sales for the next period, it can be expected that there will also be 20% increase the level of receivable. The next one, credit policy. The term credit policy refer to those decisions where that influence the amount of trade credit, that is the investment in receivable. So this is careful about these credit policies. Now the next one is terms of credit. The terms of credit means the size of receivable. It is also affected by terms of credit. It means credit terms offered by the firm. Under these two important components of the credit terms, it is credit period, and second one is credit cash discount. First one is credit period and second one is cash discount. The credit period means the term credit period refer to the time duration for which credit is extended to customer, generally expressed in the term net days. For example, 15 days, 45 days, 30 days, etc. The cash discount, most firms offer cash discount to their customer for encouraging them to pay their dues before the expiry date of credit period. Here, the term of cash discount indicate the rate of discount as well as the period for which the discount has been offered. Suppose, for example, if the term of cash discount are changed from 30 days to 2/10 net 30, it means the credit period is 30 days, but in case of customer pays in 10 days, he would get 2% discount on the amount due by him. Here, of course, allowing cash discount result in a loss to the firm because of recovery of favor amount than what is due from the customer, but it reduces the volume of receivable and put extra fund at the disposal of the firm for alternative profitable investment. The amount of loss thus suffered is therefore compensated by the income otherwise earned by the firm. This is all about the factors. Now after that, optimum credit policy. The optimum credit policy, a firm should establish receivable policies after careful considering both benefit and cost of different policies. These policies, it is related to credit standard, credit terms, collection procedure, etc. Now the next one, credit evaluation of customer. Credit evaluation of customer involves the 5 stages. The first one is gathering credit information from the customer. Second one, credit analysis. Then credit decision, prepare credit limit, and collection procedure. This is the credit evaluation of customer. Now let's start one by one. A financial statement of a firm. Here, gathering credit information of the customer through financial statement of the firm, bank references from trade and chamber of commerce, report of credit rating agencies, credit bureau report, firm own record, and other different sources such as trade journal, income tax return, wealth tax return, sales tax, GST, court cases, gazetted notification. Through these different sources, we can gather credit information about the customer. After that, credit analysis. After gathering the above information about the customer, the credit worthiness of the application is to be analyzed by a detailed study of 5 C's of credit mentioned. After this, the next one, credit decision. After proper credit analysis, the next work is decision to extend the credit facility to the potential customer. If the analysis of the applicant is not up to the standard, he may be offered cash on delivery basis. The term even by extending trade credit if necessary or instead of rejecting the credit of the customer. Then credit limit. If the decision is to extend the credit facility to the potential customer, a limit may be prescribed by the finance manager. It may be 25,000, 1 lakh, etc. It is depending upon the credit analysis and credit worthiness of customer. And last one, collection procedure. Here, a suitable and clear-cut collection procedure is to be established by the firm, and the same is to be intimated to every customer while granting credit facility. Here, cash discount may also be offered for the earlier payment of dues. This facilitates faster recoveries. This is all about the credit evaluation of customer. Now, our lecture is over. Thank you.